this past weekend, I had to clean my basement and sort all of my LEGO sets. Once I started cleaning, I saw that I had a ton of LEGO Legends of Chima sets just lying around. This kind of inspired me to make a video on LEGO Legends of Chima and figure out why the Ninjago community hates the theme. So in this video, we're going to be deeply analyzing the LEGO Legends of Chima line and comparing the Outlands and Fire vs. Ice Chima subthemes to the LEGO Ninjago Rebooted and Tournament of Elements subthemes. If you all didn't know the actual concept of LEGO Legends of Chima, the entire story revolves around these two characters, a lion prince named Laval and a crocodile prince named Krager. Both of these characters were the best of friends and knew each other since they were very little. However, things started to change when Krager's older sister, Cruller, began controlling Krager. She managed to do so with a persuader plant, which grew only in the crocodile swamp. In this land of Chima, there was a floating mountain named Mount Kavora, which produced Chi, a magical orb that would grant an animal extreme power. When the Crocodile King and the Crocodile Queen were presumed dead in one of the first battles for the Chi, Krager was pronounced King of the Crocs. Cruller used this opportunity to control Krager and start an entire war with the Lion tribe. The story of this theme is actually interesting if you read through some of it online, and it's actually quite intricate and complex. However, the storytelling in this television series was not the best. The story relied heavily on flashbacks that would tell us about what happened, and they didn't really show us the story, they merely told it to us. The show itself was entertaining to watch, and I'll get to why that was in a minute. But before that, I do have to touch up on this topic: character voices. In Ninjago, the voice acting is done very professionally, and the characters aren't very annoying. However, that's not the case in LEGO Legends of Chima. The voicing of these bizarre animal people is done poorly. The voice of the main protagonist, Laval the Lion, is very irritating, as is the voice of Krager the Croc. When you watch both Ninjago and Chima, there is a clear difference between the voice talent of the Ninjago cast and that of Chima. However, that's enough with the voices. If you all didn't know, Chima was supposed to be the next big thing for LEGO, which is why they heavily promoted it. The reason for that was very simple. They brought in a couple of kids between the ages of 8 to 14 and put them in a room with Ninjago sets on one side and Chima sets on the other. Most of the kids decided to go play with the LEGO Legends of Chima sets, as they were something very unique and something that they really haven't seen before. So LEGO decided to put an end to Ninjago and release LEGO Legends of Chima. Rumor has it that sales were not as high as originally anticipated by LEGO, and the theme was heavily struggling in the United States. This major reason probably brought the return of Ninjago. The two themes battled it out in several waves, but there were several problems with the reboot of Ninjago. Many fans considered Rebooted to be one of the worst seasons of Ninjago, and many lost interest. They claimed that this was not what Ninjago was truly about, and that there shouldn't be a huge robotic dragon flying around. They didn't like the tech turn that Ninjago took. At the same time, Chima wasn't doing its best either, as their Outland wave of sets were doing actually worse than the previous wave. Now I just want to pause right here real quick and go back to a point I made a while ago. Why was LEGO so confident that Chima would be a perfect replacement for Ninjago? They decided to even release a Chima TV series on Cartoon Network. I personally think it's because the line was entertaining. Now, I'm not biased towards Chima nor Ninjago. I've watched all the episodes of both themes, and I've collected sets from both as well. When it comes to the Legends of Chima TV series, it offers something I like to call mindless entertainment. You're probably all wondering what this means. In almost every single episode of Chima, there was some sort of war going on or some battle that was to be fought. It was pure action. Mindless action with a tad bit of storytelling is what I call mindless entertainment. You can captivate an audience by showing them all these action sequences, and they'll find it fun to watch. This is not the case for the Ninjago TV series. They have a very interesting way of developing the story, and not every episode is guaranteed to have a battle of some sort in it. It's been a while since we've had pure ninja versus bad guys action without all these vehicles and flying ships. Usually Ninjago relies on an exposition episode, typically the first episode in each season, to expose the audience to the brand new threat at hand and get the story flowing. With Chima, you were thrown straight into the battle right in the first episode with no context of what's going on and why. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there was not a lot of storytelling. The first two episodes and the season finale were the most important, and if you skip through all of the episodes in the middle, you probably could still figure out why things went the way they did in the finale. The episodes in between really felt like they were just side quests or side stories, and they didn't really affect the outcome of the story all that much. There were a select few which might have had some influence on the finale, but it really wasn't all too noticeable. What I'm trying to say is that the ending of Chima was very predictable. With Ninjago, we usually have 10 episodes per season, with each episode feeling like it had a purpose and wasn't a waste of screen time. If you actually watch the first episode of Skybound and then skip everything in between and then watch the finale, you'll have absolutely no idea what is going on. And that makes every single episode in the season have some sort of purpose and value. Anyway, that's enough with that, and let's get on to the sets. The Chima sets were actually quite unique, with each set having an animal character and some sort of vehicle that resembles that animal character. There was the occasional fort or base, but I do have to say that most of those sets were poorly designed. There were a few like the Crocodile Base or the Phoenix Temple, which looked outstanding, but then there were some like Mammoth Frozen Stronghold, which just look rushed and unfinished. When you see a structural build from Ninjago, you usually see some kind of elegant design, whether it be a temple or a dojo. What I will say is that Ninjago does need to learn a little bit when it comes to designing dragon faces, as the animal heads in Chima looked better. Not all dragons, just that titanium dragon. Jeez, that thing looked ugly. Anyway, to a child, Chima sets do seem to be more fun to play with. Keep in mind that these are supposed to be play sets, so replayability is very valuable when it comes to this. With Ninjago, you have a jet with some flick-fire missiles and a bad guy. Nice and simple set, but what are you going to do with it? Chima offered some transforming features and just more play options in general, which is perfect for LEGO's target demographic being children ages from 8 to 14. But with replayability comes a price, and that being a huge one: design. Chima sets that had awesome transforming features usually looked very ugly. I mean, seriously, what the hell are those tires doing there? Overall, I believe that's simply the reason Chima didn't do well. The Ninjago sets looked better, and that's what matters to the kids. They appealed to them because they looked awesome, and play features didn't really matter because of the story that Ninjago built upon. See, the audience constructed a bond with each individual character in the series, and the characters are very important when it comes to any kind of TV series. Chima suffers from a very big flaw called character development. It has absolutely none of it. Sure, there was a few flashbacks between Laval and Krager, but not enough storytelling for the audience to care for the characters. With each season of Ninjago comes a brand new story and a ton of character development. Why? It's simple. Each season of Ninjago is focused on a specific ninja. Therefore, with each season focusing on a new ninja, the audience begins to establish connections with them more and more. That's something Chima heavily lacked. Now, what I'm going to do is show you all several sets. One will be a Chima set, and the other will be a Ninjago set. Both have a similar price, and I want you to choose which set you'd rather purchase silently in your head. Disregard any bias you have towards any of the themes. Choose the set purely because it piques your interest. I honestly wasn't going to go anywhere with that. That's simply for you to decide whether you like Chima sets or Ninjago sets better. But all in all, when you really do think about it, why is Chima hated so much? I personally believe it's simply because it was supposed to replace Ninjago, and so many fans were outraged that Ninjago ended and was replaced with something inferior to it. And that's when the hate bandwagon took off. Let's face it, if both themes ran during the same time period, there wouldn't be as much hate for the Chima theme. With that being said, I think this does conclude my analysis on Ninjago and Chima. LEGO Legends of Chima did have some very interesting things to bring to the table for LEGO, but ultimately I do believe that Ninjago did things better and efficiently. Do you guys agree with me? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching, leave a like if you guys did enjoy the video, and subscribe for more LEGO Ninjago content, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.